It breaks my heart because it's our history. I've lived here my whole life.
Chicken giant Tyson Foods says it's closing 4 processing plants, including 2 here in Missouri.
America, brace yourself, because this story is nothing short of shocking. The nation's largest meat producer, Tyson Foods, has just announced the closure of 5 major plants across the United States. These aren't just buildings with machines. They are lifelines for thousands of families, anchors for small-town economies, and pillars of America's food supply chain. Overnight, workers are being sent home, jobs are vanishing, and an entire industry is reeling. But the part that has everyone talking? Canada is offering to step in and take over the contracts that America is now leaving behind. This isn't just business. This is a direct challenge to U.S. strength, and Donald Trump is absolutely furious. Before we dive into the details, make sure to subscribe to Traveling Vibes, the place where you get the real breakdown behind the headlines. We dig deep, we tell the stories others skip, and we make sure you stay ahead of the curve. And don't forget, leave your thoughts in the comments. Which part of this shocking news hits hardest for you? The best comment, we'll pin it at the top. Now, let's begin with the hook that matters most. What does this mean for Americans? Think about the workers. 5 Tyson plants closing means thousands of layoffs. These aren't just numbers. These are real families suddenly without paychecks. In towns where Tyson is the main employer, entire communities will collapse. Schools will lose funding. Diners and gas stations will lose customers. Small businesses will struggle. These are the ripple effects that turn a factory closure into a full-blown economic disaster. And here's where Donald Trump enters the story. Trump built his political brand on protecting American jobs and punishing foreign competitors with tariffs. He told Americans his policies would keep factories open and workers strong. But now, in the heart of Trump country, rural America, plants are closing, jobs are vanishing, and foreign competitors like Canada are preparing to take advantage. Trump sees this as not just an economic blow, but a direct humiliation. Reports out of Washington say he is furious behind closed doors, shouting at advisors, demanding answers, and looking for someone to blame. Trump's reaction has been explosive. He has accused Tyson of betraying American workers and suggested that Canada is taking advantage of a weak moment. He knows that if Canada steps in and takes over these lost contracts, it will make the United States look weak. To Trump, this isn't just about food. It's about power, dominance, and pride. For a man who campaigned on America First, seeing Canada rise while the U.S. stumbles is politically devastating. But let's step back and ask, why is this happening? The truth is, Trump's tariffs have been a double-edged sword. While they were supposed to protect U.S. industries, they've driven up costs for farmers and exporters. Feed prices soared. Retaliatory tariffs from China, Mexico, and Europe made it harder for U.S. companies to sell abroad. Tyson, facing shrinking profits and rising expenses, decided it could no longer sustain operations at 5 plants. In other words, the very trade war Trump waged to protect jobs has helped destroy them. And who benefits? Canada. The Canadian government has already signaled that its producers are ready to scale up. That means global buyers who once depended on American chicken, pork, and beef can now look north for stability. If you're a country like Japan or South Korea, why risk relying on the US when Canada promises reliable supply? This is how trade wars are lost, not with battles, but with contracts quietly shifting hands. For Americans, the pain is about to get real. Grocery store prices will climb. Meat shortages could hit certain regions. Families already struggling with inflation will see their food bills jump even higher. Imagine walking into Walmart or your local supermarket and seeing chicken at $6 a pound when last month it was $4. That's not just numbers on a chart. That's the reality millions of families will face. And when voters feel that kind of pain at the dinner table, they turn their anger toward Washington. Trump knows this. He knows that in states like Iowa, Arkansas, and Missouri, places that have always been part of his base, people will feel betrayed. They'll remember his promises to protect jobs. And they'll see Canada moving in to take what America is losing. That's the kind of narrative that can damage a political career. And that's why his anger has exploded into the open. But beyond the politics, this is also about national security. Food is not just an economic product, it's survival. A country that cannot secure its own food supply is vulnerable. With Tyson shutting down, with farms suffering, and with Canada waiting in the wings, Americans are left asking, Has the US lost control of something as essential as food? And here's where the story becomes even more unsettling. Tyson isn't the only company under pressure. Other food giants are watching closely. If costs continue to rise, if demand continues to shrink, more plants could follow. This could be just the beginning of a larger collapse in America's food production system. Meanwhile, Canada is preparing to expand, turning what was once America's crown jewel into its own opportunity. Let's also not forget the global optics. For decades, the US has been the undisputed leader in agriculture exports. American farmers fed the world. But now, headlines around the globe are painting a different picture. US plants close, Canada offers to step in. That is a narrative shift that weakens America's influence far beyond economics. It's a shift in global leadership. So what comes next? Trump will rage, but rage alone won't reopen plants. Workers will protest, but protests won't stop closures. Canada will expand, whether the US likes it or not. And the American people will have to decide, do they continue down the path of tariffs and trade wars, or do they demand new leadership that can stabilize the economy? But here's something we can't ignore. What happens when ordinary Americans begin to connect the dots? For years, they've been told tariffs would protect jobs. They've been told that America first meant industries would never again abandon small towns. Yet today, 5 Tyson plants are shuttered, thousands of jobs gone, and families are asking, where is the protection we were promised? This is more than frustration. This is about trust. If Americans cannot trust corporations like Tyson to stay, and they cannot trust politicians to protect them, who can they trust? That is the crisis at the heart of this story. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine you're a worker in Iowa. You've given 20 years of your life to Tyson. You clock in before dawn, you clock out after dark. Your hands ache, your back is sore, but you're proud, because you know you're feeding America. Then, one day, the announcement comes. Your plant is closing. Not because you didn't work hard enough, not because demand disappeared, but because executives decided it's cheaper to cut costs, and foreign competitors are waiting to step in. How do you explain that to your kids? How do you explain that to your community? Now let's zoom out. This isn't just about 5 plants. This is about the message it sends to the world. If the US can't keep its food industry stable, what does that mean for technology, for energy, for manufacturing? If Canada can swoop in and take over America's market share in agriculture, what's stopping China from doing the same in semiconductors, or Europe in renewable energy? Weakness in one sector sends signals across the globe. And right now, the signal is loud and clear. America is stumbling. And Donald Trump? His anger is real. But Americans want more than anger. They want solutions. They want leadership that doesn't just point fingers but rebuilds. Trump has promised that if he returns to power, he'll punish Tyson and bring jobs back. But voters are asking, why didn't you stop this in the first place? That's the uncomfortable question his base will demand answers for. Meanwhile, Canada's move isn't just business. It's strategy. By offering to take over US contracts, Canada isn't just helping itself, it's sending a message. If America can't handle the pressure, we can. That strengthens Canada's global reputation, builds trust with trading partners, and gives its farmers long-term contracts that could last decades. Once those deals are signed, it will be nearly impossible for the US to win them back. So, what's at stake here is bigger than 5 factories. It's about whether America will lead or lag, whether Americans will pay higher grocery bills for years to come, or whether they will push their leaders to rethink broken policies. It's about whether Made in the USA is still a promise or just a memory. And this is where you, the viewer, come in. Because the truth is, change doesn't start in Washington. It doesn't start in Tyson's boardroom. It starts with ordinary Americans who demand accountability. You have the power to decide what kind of future this country will have. If you believe America should fight to keep its industries alive, then say it. If you believe Canada stepping in is a warning sign we can't ignore, then say it. The comment section is where your voice matters. And the strongest, sharpest comment we receive, we'll pin it to the top for the world to see. Before we close, let's talk about hope. Yes, plants are shutting down. Yes, jobs are being lost. But America has faced bigger challenges before. From the Great Depression to the 2008 financial crisis, this country has always found a way back. The question is, will we find that way now, or will we let others write our future for us? So here's the takeaway. Tyson's closures are a wake-up call. Trump's rage is only the beginning. Canada's offer is a warning shot. And for everyday Americans, this is the moment to stay informed, stay strong, and stay united. And with that, we want to thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, you are the reason we keep creating these deep dive stories. Do us a favor. Hit subscribe to Traveling Vibes right now so you never miss another update. Drop a comment with your take. And remember, the best one gets pinned. And most importantly, share this video with friends and family, because the more people who understand what's happening, the stronger America becomes. This is not just news. This is your future. And together, we're going to keep uncovering the truth, no matter how powerful the story, no matter how loud the headlines. Stay safe, stay sharp, and we'll see you in the next video.